It's Moral Cowards. And it's a story about, actually, when I was a detective. I want to read you just that first quote, because this is what gave me the idea for the title of the book. It's by Michael Rivero. It says, most people prefer to believe their leaders are just and fair, even in the face of evidence to the contrary, because once a citizen acknowledges that the government under which they live is lying and corrupt, the citizen has to choose what he or she will do about it. To take action in the face of a corrupt government entails risk of harm to life and loved ones. To choose to do nothing is to surrender one's self-image of standing for principle. Most people do not have the courage to do that, to face that choice. Hence, most propaganda is not designed to fool the critical thinker, but only to give moral cowards an excuse not to think at all. And this story is about when I was a detective in the Juvenile Bureau. I had an excellent sergeant named Terrence Wilson. He was a male black, very dignified. He either wore really nice suits, tailored suits, or black, or he wore his uniform. He wore his uniform when he was going to go work special duty at the college after work in the Juvenile Bureau. We did sexual and physical investigations on child abuse. Well, he was there for about a year and a half. He distributed the work evenly. He was very level-headed, very nice. Met his girlfriend, who he eventually married, and she was pretty too. She really liked him. And they ended up having a little baby girl. So everything was going smooth in the Juvenile Bureau. We were not only fairly catching the bad guys and letting the innocent people go, but I had a 100% conviction rate on my sexual felony packets, because I knew when I was done with the investigation, I knew they did it. If I didn't, I wouldn't put them in front of the court. There were a couple female blacks in the Bureau that didn't like Terrence Wilson, and some other blacks, because he didn't shuck and jive. So I had a friend, a black detective named Stan Bias, and Stan Bias I knew his family, babysat for his kid, and he didn't like the way that they acted and they talked. Then there was a male black sergeant also that liked to shuck and jive. And they liked this black female on second shift. Well, through a little group effort, they said Terrence Wilson didn't turn in his vacation slips when he went to work that special duty job. Now, how that was set up is there was a gray metal box, unsecured, that sat on one of the exploited children detectives' desks. And whenever you did a vacation slip, you took it to your supervisor, he signed it, and he told you to put it in that box. Sometimes he said, I'll put it in, but usually they just give it to you. None of us ever thought to make copies of it. So these people, the second shift detective and a female white on first shift, were taking his slips out. And then they turned him into IA for not turning in leave slips. He ended up getting fired because he tried to defend himself, which was wrong on our department. When he got fired, the next week was his wedding, and one of those two female black detectives were laughing up front saying, oh, he probably won't get married now. But I didn't tell him I was going to the wedding. I went to the wedding, and let's see, Jeff Blackwell, he was a lieutenant when I left. He was a black guy. He was like a pretty boy, real handsome black guy. I guess he was part Hawaiian, but he was just a user. Oh, he came to Terrence's wedding and ate all of his food and drank all of his beer, but then after that he didn't talk to him anymore. Some people are like that. So then we got the second sergeant, and she was stupid. That was the main thing. She was stupid. And she did like to shuck and jive. And mainly she had black friends. She really didn't have any white friends, except maybe a detective that would help her. You got to read this book so you can understand the evolution of how a tyrant rises in power within a